Excess fat worsens your mental health through several well-defined pathways. On the other hand, depression and anxiety perpetuate obesity. Food is the most accepted, most available, and most effective short-term way to get out of the hole, and it's not exactly the healthy kind. You understand me, right? This is the dark cycle that millions of people can't escape from. If you're here watching this video, maybe you're one of them, but what if this video gave you some evidence? The best diet to solve both problems at once, or at least improve them a lot. That's what you're about to discover, based on a study published by our group very recently. What you eat impacts your mental health directly and indirectly. Is that clear to you? If so, let's move on to the next point. All that interaction is structured by the so-called gut microbiota-brain axis. Now let me ask you, do you think your digestive system is healthy? How long has it been? How long without? Digestive symptoms like bloating, abdominal pain, heavy digestion, reflux, or excessive flatulence? Most of us have a very deteriorated digestive system, and we don't necessarily have to fit into a diagnostic category for this to be true. The microbes that live in your digestive system directly influence your brain function through immune, endocrine, and neurological pathways. Let's say that the inflammation that starts in the gut reaches the brain. The microbiota educates your immune system, and when it is diverse and healthy, it produces anti-inflammatory molecules that calm the immune system's inflammatory response. But when it is altered, when there is dysbiosis, the opposite happens. Inflammatory molecules like interleukin-6 or tumor necrosis factor, alpha, are activated, which reach your brain and cause inflammation. And inflammation in the brain and depression go hand in hand. Endocrine pathways. Hormones and also neurotransmitters are produced in your gut. For example, 90% of serotonin is produced in the gut. After the conversion of tryptophan, who regulates this conversion? Surprise, it's the microbiota. If there is dysbiosis, less tryptophan is converted, we have less serotonin available, and yes, not all the serotonin from the digestive system reaches the brain. Shall we continue? When there is dysbiosis, the intestinal barrier increases its permeability, which leads to more activation of the stress axis and more cortisol. Neurological pathways. Many gut bacteria produce neurotransmitters like gamma-aminobutyric acid dopamine, serotonin, and acetylcholine. These signals don't stay there. They travel to the brain through the vagus nerve, a two-way highway between the brain and the gut. What happens when there is dysbiosis? The vagus nerve loses tone, the stress axis becomes overactive, and you're more prone to anxiety and depression. Now, have you ever tried a ketogenic diet? Right at the beginning, you feel really good. Almost euphoric, don't you? Many authors and even more gurus have proposed the ketogenic diet almost as a therapeutic alternative. You know, it's a very high-fat diet with almost no carbohydrates, which became very famous not only for offering significant fat loss, but also for other health benefits. Some of them are true, and one of them was supposed to be improved cognition and mood. In fact, it seems that beta-hydroxybutyrate, the main ketone body that we increase on these diets, has that ability, and that's how it works in the short term. The keto diet has been shown to improve mental health in some studies, with reduced symptoms of anxiety, impulsivity, and depression, as well as improved cognitive function. Now, that's not the question. The question is it the best diet to achieve this? That's what this study analyzes, in which our research group from IBIMA in Malaga analyzed whether a keto or Mediterranean diet was better for alleviating depressive and anxious symptoms in people with obesity. The conclusions will surprise you, and stay tuned, because at the end of the video I'll give you all the current scientific guidelines to protect your diet against anxiety and depression. In the study, 64 participants with a body mass index between 30 and 45, meaning they had obesity, were analyzed over a period of 3 months. Of those, only 37 completed the study. We already know about the general problems with adherence, and the conclusions are as follows. The first conclusion is that the Mediterranean diet led to greater improvements in depressive symptoms and more favorable changes in the microbiota than the ketogenic diet. Second, this is not just an association. The researchers performed microbiota transplants from humans on both diets to mice and showed that the mice that received the keto microbiota displayed more anxious behavior. Third, these are not new results, they add to others. The Mediterranean diet is the only dietary pattern with large clinical trials showing a direct antidepressant effect. The Simplified Molecular Input Line Entry System and the Prevención con Dieta Mediterránea 4. The keto diet was superior in only one thing, improving impulsivity parameters. And we know that impulsivity regarding food intake is a huge risk factor in patients with obesity. So, what is the recipe to create a diet that keeps us as far away as possible from mental health problems? Knowing that these are a multifactorial enemy and that diet is just one more piece, does it fulfill this? First, prioritize a Mediterranean dietary pattern as a base, but not necessarily Mediterranean, any of them. Include 2 or 3 pieces of seasonal fruit per day, kiwi, orange, apple, berries. Include a large salad with every lunch, with 20 to 30 milliliters of extra virgin olive oil. Green leaves, a handful of nuts, 8 to 10 walnuts, 15 to 20 almonds. Prioritize walnuts, almonds, or pistachios. Third, a serving of cooked vegetables at dinner, broccoli, Swiss chard, asparagus, zucchini, etc. Fourth, a mild fermented food per day. Yogurt, kefir, dessert works great. Fifth, small oily fish at least twice a week, sardine, mackerel, salmon, anchovies, melba. Sixth, 3 servings of legumes per week. They have to be included no matter what. Lentils, chickpeas, beans. The salad at lunch can easily include these servings on some days. Seventh, make this a routine. Don't improvise much. There are people who always want to improvise with their meals. Look, eat well without overthinking it. Use your head. It's not the most basic or varied thing in the world, but nourishing your body shouldn't be a fare to experiment, change things up, go off the standard, and enjoy more. That's what I think, you know? Our meals out, celebrations, that's just my humble opinion and what has worked best for me. I also see that it works very well for many of my patients, but it's still just a professional opinion. Second point, eliminate sweeteners from your diet, switch zero-calorie sodas for sparkling water with lemon slices. Little by little, replace saccharin with coffee, just with cinnamon or with. If you drink it with milk, a trick is to add lactose-free milk, which is sweeter. If you need sweetness for kefir, coffee, or yogurt, a teaspoon of honey won't do you any harm. Third, ultra-processed foods should never be at home. They are for occasional consumption, outside the home, and limited to 1 or 2 per week. Fourth, add a medicinal food every day, a functional food. Choose 1 per day from this list to maximize your butyrate production, which has beneficial effects on mental health, a cup of blueberries or red berries. I eat them frozen, I thaw them, and when I get really hungry, I eat them directly. Second, a handful of grapes with skin. Third, 2 cups of green tea or 100% cocoa powder. In my case, I add it to my post-workout shake. Protein. What happens here? With protein, quality should be prioritized over quantity. In this order, the sources should be legumes, oily fish, and eggs. White meat would have a neutral effect, and red meat would be excluded. Obviously, processed meat is completely out. Sixth, include prebiotic foods like garlic, onion, leek, green banana, artichoke, asparagus, oat bran, and oats. For me, I prefer these vegetables at dinner, but adapt them to your routine. Seventh, include natural sources of betaine and taurine, metabolites with a proposed antidepressant effect, beetroot or spinach for betaine, seafood and fish for taurine. And, last point, regular eating. An antidepressant dietary pattern should be sustainable, flexible, repeatable over time, and culturally integrated. If any of these points are not met, it won't last long. I'm letting you know that we have spots open for online medical consultations, nutritional counseling, and training advice. You can sign up here. I'll see you in the next video. What surprised you most about this and what questions remain? Big hug. Let's keep empowering.